Well, I have to say that Ron really knocked it out of the park with this card. And I think it's my favorite of all the cards in this bundle. I mean, all of them are great, but this one is definitely special. And if you know a super dad, and most dads are pretty super, you're gonna love this card, and so will he. So let's just jump right in and take a look. I kind of just laid this out so I knew what I was doing. There's our little caption in the center, and you can see that this little, well, it's a gatefold, so this middle piece here, I've inked this, and there's some little indicators there to help you get this nice and centered. So let's just start with that. Let's get this guy in place here, and I'm going to use a series of dots here because it's a pretty delicate little piece. I don't want glue all over, or spilling all over, I should say, so I'm just going to do some dots, and also I'm going to get some dots in some of these little areas with the cutouts that are kind of delicate so that they don't get ripped accidentally once you get this thing put together. And you'll be surprised how little glue you need to get this in place. So use the little guide there to get that nice and centered. And there we go. Because it's going to be kind of important. This caption is partially visible from the outside once we get this all in place. Now, another thing that you're going to want to keep in mind is you're going to want these are the little knuckles on the hand. You want them to be sort of above the center. You don't want it like this. That's not going to work. You want it this way. Okay, you want to put this in here so that the Super Dad caption is partially visible through that little cutout in the center. So let's get this glued down, and that will kind of set the pace, set the tone for the rest of the assembly here. I'm going to work that glue out to the perimeter. It's probably the most important areas where you want that glue. And then we'll throw a little bit in the center so that doesn't go anywhere. There we go. And just do your best to get that nice and centered inside there. Take a look and use the little score marks as well as the top and bottom as a guide. Just make sure that you have as much of an even border going all the way around as possible. Now mine is a little bit right. I'm giving it a nudge. There we go. That looks better. Press that down into place. And there we have it. And you can see how nice that looks from the inside. Okay, so close this up. And I'm going to kind of fold this, kind of press it down a little bit just to make sure it sits relatively flat. And you can see that I did some strategic inking here just around this area. Everything else is going to be covered up, so there's no sense in wasting glue. Now this first piece, this big blue piece, is going to go right here, and it will be pretty much flush with this section here, as well as this side and the bottom. So we want to do our best to get that as accurately aligned as possible. Don't overdo it with the glue. A little bit goes a long way, but you have to act kind of quick here because we're working with a lot of surface area. And I'm going to start up here and just make sure that that is nice and aligned. And I'm using my fingers to kind of feel and make sure that everything is nice and flush. That looks pretty darn good. I'm going to press that down. And, you know, because of the accuracy or sometimes inaccuracy of a machine, if you have a little bit of white showing either at the top or bottom, it's not the end of the world. Not a big deal at all. Okay, and I guess what we'll do is just kind of do this side by side. We'll do the same layer all at once here. Okay, so this one's going to go here. You can see how that goes into place. This one's a little less delicate, maybe a little bit more real estate to put glue on, but again, just make sure you get the perimeter. That's probably the most important. And then a little bit on the inside, and just get that nice and flush with the shadow layer underneath it. In my case, it's white. It's a good time to use a nice bold yellow color This is, what is that? AC cardstock lemon. I don't remember using that very often. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we got the first layer in place. That looks pretty good. And we're gonna move over to the left side and we're gonna put this layer down next. Okay, so this is our it's a lighter blue to kind of give his suit a nice two-tone look. And you can kind of see where that's gonna go. It's pretty self-explanatory. I think that you could probably, I bet a lot of you will probably end up making this even before the video comes out. I can see that happening because there's a lot of projects that are far more elaborate and you guys are really good at figuring that out. So I'm sure that this will be no exception. So that's gonna go right there. Get that nice and lined up. Make sure that this part here is nice and flush with the inner part of the darker blue part of the suit. And press that down into place, like so. And we'll grab the other side and get that in place. Definitely a cool card. Okay, just working that glue. And again, I think the most important part is just making sure that you get everything nice and flush. And you can see that I also did some strategic inking on this. If you, before you put this together, kind of lay it out and just get a visual as far as the layering goes to get an idea of where you can put glue and where you don't have to put glue. Okay, now let's do this. Let's put the lemon color in place here. This is just to kind of balance things out as far as what is it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Oh boy, I can't think right now. Okay, so that piece is going to go there. It's going to hug the rest of the suit there, the top part of the suit. I still can't think of the word. I'm thinking about, it's a photography term. Balance, I guess? Yeah, it's just balance. Okay, we'll put this piece in place. Again, it kind of just snaps in like a little puzzle piece, just like that. Make sure it's nice and flat there. There we go. So you can see how it kind of squares it up a little bit. Okay, now on the left side, there's a little less to worry about on the left side. We've got this small piece, this white piece. We'll throw a few little dots of glue on this little piece here. And you can see the part of the tie there where that's gonna line up. So just get that nice and lined up there, like so. It needs to come up a little bit. There we go. Okay, and we've got a small little red piece that goes up there. Now there's one little section of this that I'll call it the top section that is less round. It's a little more flat, almost like blade shaped. That part is going up towards the top where the round part is at the bottom. And you'll see that once you actually put it in place. And just again, make sure that that's nice and flush with the interior, like this section here. I want all that to be nice and smooth and flush and lined up. Okay, so there we have that. And let's go over to the other side and put the tie, the other half of the tie in place. Start with the white piece. Get your glue on there. Yeah, and again, this is, when we're working with these cards, I wouldn't even call this a 3D project really. It's mostly paper piecing, taking you back to the days of scrapbooking. And pop that into place there. Make sure, again, it's nice and flush with the center of the card, and then also nice and flush out here. And then we'll finish it off by putting the red part of the tie in place. Get your glue on there. Real simple. There we go. And pop that right in place right there. There we go. That looks cool. Look at that. Okay, now we're going to work on the little neck piece. There's a little bit of a face portion. These are the two smaller pieces, and the neck portion is the two larger pieces. These first two are going to go in like a little puzzle piece right here. You can see how nicely that fits and kind of snaps into place. So let's get that one in place. Go easy on the glue. And just pop that in there again. Just make sure that this edge here is nice and flush and lined up with the center of the card. And get the other section in place. This one has a few more pieces than our other Father's Day cards in this bundle, but it's kind of fun to put together actually. It's very simple. Okay, again, just make sure that that's nice and centered. There we go. And then I'm going to put the bottom part of his face in place, and we're actually going to, I'm going to use some foam squares on this, and I'm going to actually cut these foam squares in half. They're a little big for what I need here. And we'll just pull two of these off, flip them over, and just put one on the back here, and then one on the back of this one. Okay, and we can peel that off. And let me see here. Gotta remember the smaller one. Which one's the smaller one? Well, it goes like this. No, it goes like this. Okay, just like that. And we're going to line this up with the very top of the card as well as the center. Okay, so let's pop that in place. Here we go. And then this one here, that one's going to go like this. And just get that nice and centered there. This one here on the left, I'm going to peel this off because it's slightly angled. I don't like that. So I'm going to kind of squeeze these together and just make sure that I have them nice and straight. There we go. Okay. So there is, he's got a nice chiseled chin. There we go. Okay, so last but not least, we got to put his hands together. Okay, here is his left hand. We got to put his little jacket piece on there, and then the little cuff. So just throw a little bit of glue on there. And this piece here, you can see where it fits exactly based on the little shadow layer below it. Okay, and then we just need to take the little cuff and glue that on. Now the cuff itself has a little button, or a cuff link, I believe it's called. I don't wear a lot of suits. Not really, unless I have to, of course. And we'll pop that in place right there. The button's going to be at the bottom, or the little cuff link. Okay, so there's his left hand. And let's do the same thing with the right. And we're going to foam square this one to give it some dimension. So let's do that in just a second here. And this is the first time all season where I'm in the studio, and even at night, it's kind of hot. I got to get the fan back out here because I'm starting to sweat. I am not a Superman. I am merely a mortal. And get this in place. Last little piece here. Again, make sure that the little cuff link or the little button there is at the bottom. Whoops. There we go. Nice. Press that down. And we can then flip this over, and we're going to throw some foam squares on this. And now you can see in the middle of the card that we have some knuckles there for you to help you with the placement of this. And I'm going to put this up and make sure that that's sitting up right. Almost looks like a Facebook hand. Like that like thing, the like thing. You know what I'm talking about. Like this. All right, let's peel off the backings of the foam squares, and you can see here where the little silhouette is of the knuckles, and that's where this one's going to go. Again, when you place that down, make sure that the edge of this is aligned with the edge of the card, and just press that down into place. And we'll do the same thing on this one. And then kind of went above and beyond on this card, and we have a little band that holds this together so it doesn't just come opening up with a nice little caption. And again, just match up the knuckles, and at the same time make sure that it's nice and aligned on the side of the card, and there we have it. Okay, so there is the card, and it opens up to show Super Dad. Let's take a look at the little band here. So what we're going to do, I've already pre-folded this. You can, well, actually we're not going to close this up, but it's got a little notch system to close it up. This part here is going to go on the front, so let's get that glued into place. Just throw a little bit of glue on the back. I went ahead and I inked this with a little bit of purple. I tried dark red, it didn't show up, so I hit it with a little bit of purple just to kind of jazz it up a bit. Get your glue on there, and then if you have any little delicate areas for the letters, like on the H and the E and the A and the F, just throw a little dot of glue on there so that doesn't get ripped accidentally. And then just find where it needs to go so that you have little cutouts for the caption. I'm going to bring that down just a smidge. There we go. And then finally, just need to put this on the back. And what I'm going to do to make sure that I don't get glue in a place where it doesn't need to be, I'm just going to put glue around the perimeter. Just try to keep it to the outside. And then I'll throw a little bit of glue around these little cutouts here, like so. Okay, hopefully I didn't mess that up. And just get that nice and centered. Use the score marks as kind of a guide, and you can see what that looks like from the front now. Press that down, and then we can take this little notch system, pop that in. Okay, and then that's going to go right up the bottom to kind of keep this nice and closed. It should fit pretty snug. I'm going to put it in. Don't put it in an angle. That's not going to work. I'm still doing it at an angle. There we go. Wonderful. Bring that down. And that's roughly where the caption is going to sit. I'm going to take some bling, and I've got some pearls. Oh, by the way, your version is going to come with a little star that, if you don't have a rhinestone star like I do here, you can use the paper star that gets cut out, and that star is going to go right here in the center of our Super Dad caption. We're using a rhinestone instead, so that looks cool. And then I've got some tiny little pearls that I'll put here and in various places on his shirt. But there is your card. That is done. And of course, with every card from Dreaming Tree, we have a coordinating envelope to go with it. And you can see it here in front of me. I'll show you how that goes together. Won't take long at all. Very quick, really cool card for Dad that you can get done in probably 20 minutes or so. Not including the cutting, but even with that, it won't take too long. So first off, let's get our little star in place. And just throw a little bit of glue around the perimeter. Just a couple little shots of glue there in the center. And we do have some little markers here on the flap to make sure that you get it nice and centered. Nice orientation on that. There we go. We're going to fold this in. We'll take our glue, just run a little bit along the inside of each of these flaps, like that. And then we're going to take the bottom, fold it up, and press down. And just hold that for a few moments while it sets. And that's it. Like I said, take a look at the final photo so that you can kind of see where we added a little bit of bling. And your Super Dad card is done and ready for Super Dad. As you can see here, it should fit in there nicely. I'm, again, jumping the gun here. There we go. Ready to go. There you go. All right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I cannot wait to see your versions of this card and the other two cards from our new Father's Day card bundle. So if you make this, definitely head on over to your Facebook. Do a search for Dreaming Tree Group. We can join myself and the 20,000 plus other dreamers that inspire us daily. And if you enjoyed the video, head on over to your YouTube and do a search for, visit our YouTube and hit subscribe. And while you're there, hit that little bell so that you get notifications anytime we release any new products, freebies, or even our educational videos. So anyway, I had fun. I hope you did too, and I look forward to crafting with you again.